This week on GamePron News, we celebrate the life of Steve Jobs as the Apple co-founder loses his long-fought battle with cancer. How better to do that than to explore two awesome new games that are only playable on the hardware he helped create. The original Crysis has finally made it to consoles. We have an interesting looking trailer for Gotham City Impostors. Ghost Recon Future Soldier gets dated at the same time as those pesky raving Rabbids sign a deal for a TV show. We have an update on the oft-fabled film adaptation of Halo, and Sony would like to thank one of its greatest gaming heroes. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. This week, the world learned that Steve Jobs had lost his battle with cancer at the age of 56. On the surface, Jobs, a co-founder of Apple and former company CEO, might not seem to be intimately connected with the games industry, but the reality is he touched this industry just as much as he touched music and technology in general. When the iPod launched back in 2001, it dragged digital distribution into the mainstream with it. Originally promoted as simply a portable music player, the iPod, and now the iPhone and iPad, is now the most popular handheld gaming device in the world, as well as providing a handy platform for many budding developers. After a long period of health scares and drama, Jobs stepped down as Apple CEO in August 2011, explaining that he could no longer meet the duties and expectations of the role. He handed over the reins to then COO Tim Cook. On October 4th, Cook hosted his first major press event, announcing the iPhone 4S. Jobs was noticeably absent from the keynote. On October 5th, Apple posted a touching eulogy to the man they called a visionary and creative genius, who reportedly died peacefully surrounded by his family, including his wife of 20 years, their 3 children and a daughter from a previous relationship. It seems only fitting then that a couple of this week's highlights feature Apple technology, including one which was announced on stage at the keynote presentation in Cupertino. Epic Games president Mike Capps joined Tim Cook on stage to reveal something we should have all seen coming: Infinity Blade 2. Designed to run only on the iPhone using iOS 5, Infinity Blade 2 will take advantage of the new features including iCloud, which means gamers will be able to seamlessly transfer save games and profiles between devices. There are the usual tweaks, upgrades and improvements, new fighting styles and weapon classes, and a couple of new online modes. Overall though, it seems that Chair Entertainment has taken the simple approach: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Looking back at how successful the original game was last year, we figured they're onto a good thing. Also quick to jump on the 4S bandwagon was Australian studio Firemint, who announced a massive update for Real Racing 2, Party Play. Using Apple's AirPlay feature, the game will now support split-screen local multiplayer for 2 to 4 players. You'll need either an iPhone 4S or an iPad 2 to act as a host, but any other iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch device can join in. There's a stash of visual upgrades, including real-time dynamic shadows, improved reflections, and HDR-like exposure effects, and all of that is on top of the completely wireless, totally borderless 3D gameplay we've already grown to love. Did we mention you can still monitor real-time racing telemetry on your iPad 2 or iPhone 4S? In other news, the original Crysis has finally appeared on consoles some 5 years after its groundbreaking debut on the PC. While Crytek's game was such a big deal back in the day, it seems times have changed. The once premium AAA title that forced gaming rig upgrades across the globe has been taken down a peg or two. It's now a $30 downloadable title on both Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network. It has been tweaked to take advantage of the CryEngine 3 technology, improving combat and those nanosuit gamepad controls, and the whole thing now supports stereoscopic 3D. Considered by many to be the PC game that signalled the start of the next generation, now's your chance to check out the landmark title on your console of choice. Also coming to your console of choice in the not-so-distant future, also as a downloadable title, is Gotham City Impostors. We got a new trailer for the game this week, which shows off absolutely no gameplay, no cinematics, no developer chit-chat, and no real information about what's in store. Despite all of that, it's totally brilliant.
Well, have a good night, Steve.
You too, Frank. Any plans?
Nothing special. You?
Nope. Same old, same old. Gesundheit. Rough night?
Yeah.
Well, have a good day, Frank.
You too, Steve.
Gesundheit.
This one's headed our way a little later than anticipated. Keep an eye out in early 2012 and check your inbox for your invite to the closed beta. Ghost Recon Future Soldier has been given a release date. Mark March 6th in your calendars if you want to get a bit of this Kinect-enabled action. The news was originally broken by a bunch of retailers updating their online databases, but swiftly confirmed by Ubisoft. The game missed its earlier summer 2011 deadline, but is set to slot quite nicely into the Q1 2012 timeframe we were told at E3. Remember, that's all after the beta test, which kicks off in January. That wasn't the only big news from Ubisoft either. They've made many gamers very happy with the announcement that the company has just inked a deal with Nickelodeon to bring the beloved Rabbids to your television. And they're not doing things by halves. 78 7-minute CG segments will be made in-house at Ubisoft and then published worldwide by Nickelodeon. We're expecting them in a breakfast slot. To avoid overload, the segments will then be smushed together into 26 half-hour episodes. Even though the Rabbids have only been around for 5 years since their Wii debut back in 2006, this deal is only going to boost their reputation and, dare we say, notoriety. The whole thing set to kick off in 2013. Film adaptations of video games are generally as widely panned as video game adaptations of films, but despite history speaking for itself, gamers still froth at the mouth when anyone suggests bringing their favourite franchise to the big screen. The latest example, Halo, which was reignited this week when a French website posted concrete news that not only was a movie in the works, but Hollywood heavyweights Steven Spielberg and DreamWorks were on board. A week before New York Comic Con, the time seemed right for Microsoft's best-selling franchise to make the leap. The news spread across the internet, sparking discussions and excitement wherever it went, but it didn't take long for the flames to be extinguished. Sources got in touch with the French site and admitted that the press release copywriter had made a mistake, leaving out a crucial part of a key sentence. In French, the announcement read, "A cinematic adaptation is scheduled for 2012. Apparently, it was supposed to say a cinematic adaptation is not scheduled at this time. Simple error, wouldn't you say? Maybe it'd be a good idea to start practicing your surprised faces for when Microsoft really does take the wraps off of the fabled Halo cinematic experience. And finally this week, the days of awkward accidental advertising from Sony are gone, as the hardware giant reveals one of the greatest, most epic campaigns in living memory. We'd been teased that something big would happen this week, but nobody quite expected this.
All right, stay calm, man. Ma'am?
Flying over the middle of the Rubal-Khali Desert, looking for some lost city in the sand. Next thing I know, plane's going down. I'm hanging like a rag doll. 30,000 feet, just trying to hold on.
And a plague on every corner. When half the city hated me, and the other half wanted me dead. He brought out my good side.
I'm telling you, war has changed. So you do what you have to. I'm no hero. But whatever good I've done, it was him.
It was in the days of suffering when the gods made their might known. When no mortal dared stand up to Zeus. He did.
Omaha. Pinned down on that godforsaken beach. Thinking if I lay there, I'll maybe die. But if I get up, there ain't no maybe about it. Then one man broke through. Michael.
Michael. When the Templars murdered my family. When the whole bloody world's gone crazy.
Hellcat, Sector 9!
To Michael!
Michael!
For all he does.
For all of us. To Michael! To Michael! To Michael! To Michael!
No more big-headed babies, no more weird and confusing symbolism, no thinly veiled racism, and no disturbing imagery. Also, no Kevin Butler, but we'll forgive him that one. Instead, we have a glorious few minutes jam-packed with Easter eggs, including one that you may have missed. All of the photos all over the walls and ceiling at the end are real-world members of PlayStation Nation, who sent in pictures as part of the Long Live Play competition. If you squint, you might be able to see yourself. Nice work, Sony. Well played. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is GamePron News.